Hi everyone, I'm Anita Sharma. You're watching AnewZ live from Baku. Here's what's making news right now. President of France Emmanuel Macron will address the nation after Michel Barnier's resignation is triggered by an historic no-confidence vote in Parliament. South Korea's president replaces the defense minister as the opposition moves to impeach them both. In a first for cryptocurrency, Bitcoin blasts past the $100,000 mark. We begin in France with the government falling after a no-confidence vote ousted Prime Minister Michel Barnier. This marks the first government collapse of its kind since 1962, plunging France into political uncertainty. President Emmanuel Macron will address the French nation Thursday.
French National Assembly voted overwhelmingly on Wednesday to remove Prime Minister Michel Barnier and his government. With 331 votes in favour of the no-confidence motion, the outcome far exceeded the required 288. The political upheaval has drawn reactions across Europe. Italy's Sky TG24 described the situation as a profound political crisis, while Germany's ARD reported that Barnier tied his budget proposal to the vote, a gamble that backfired. Headlines across Europe reflect the fallout.
This is the logical conclusion of what France and its lawmakers are at the moment. It's a mess.
Prime Minister Barnier was seen heading to the Élysée Palace on Thursday morning to tender his resignation to President Emmanuel Macron. This comes after just 3 months in office, making Barnier the shortest-serving Prime Minister in modern French history.
I think it's a good thing. My opinion is that they didn't respect the contract they made with the French people at the legislative elections, not to ally with the far right, and they are reaping what they sowed. That's my opinion on that.
Observers say the collapse adds to mounting instability in Europe, with Germany's coalition crisis and upcoming global developments, including the return of the US President-elect Donald Trump, adding to the uncertainty.
Still in France, a research center points to a very troubling trend. The Observatory of Inequality says poverty has been on the rise for nearly 2 decades and disproportionately impacts certain groups.
The number of people living in poverty in France has increased by 1.4 million over the last 2 decades, with young people being hit harder than older people, according to the latest report. The poverty rate rose from 6.6% in 2002 to 8.1% in 2022, meaning there are now 5.1 million people who are living below the poverty line in the country. This is based on data from France Statistical Institute. Poverty is defined as having less than €1,000 per month for an individual, 1,500 euros for a couple without children, and 2,500 euros for a family with 2 children over 14. Single individuals are twice as likely to be affected as couples. Additionally, the report says 25% of unemployed people live in poverty compared to just 2.9% of salaried workers. The report says that the poverty is gradually expanding across the whole country. This situation underscores a growing challenge for French society, particularly for younger generations and those without stable employment.
Germany approves a new defense strategy to boost weapons production and expand military capacity in response to the war in Ukraine. Defense Minister Boris Pistorius and Economy Minister Robert Habeck hope to spend 100 billion euros to modernize their military technologies. The new plan entails cutting red tape and securing defense supplies. With elections in February, the strategy's future is uncertain. It comes after years of criticism over spending less on the country's defenses. In Malta, Russia's Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken come face-to-face over the war in Ukraine. They join other foreign ministers in Valletta for the annual meeting of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe.
The war in Ukraine is the dominant political issue at the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe meeting in Malta. More than 800 delegates from 57 countries will focus on regional security and pressing organizational decisions. And it's the first time Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is face-to-face with US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Lavrov's attendance and the ongoing war dominate discussions, even as diplomatic channels remain open despite European Union sanctions on Lavrov. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan is also present, stressing Turkey's commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. A major topic of discussion is Finland's upcoming 2025 chairmanship of the OSCE, marking the 50th anniversary of the Helsinki Final Act, the founding document of the organisation. Security is tight across the island of Malta, with several businesses and schools temporarily closing to accommodate the event.
Before the OSCE meeting started, the Dutch foreign minister told reporters the Netherlands will ask the European Union to suspend its visa-free arrangements with Georgia. Casper Veldkamp's remarks come after more than 300 people were arrested during pro-EU demonstrations in the country. Demonstrators in Georgia have, for the past week now, protested against the government's decision to halt negotiations over joining the EU. Veldkamp said he would make a formal request to the EU to, quote, make it clear to the Georgian government the path they are taking comes with a price. Meantime, Georgia's Prime Minister Irakli Kobakidze said earlier that the arrests of opposition figures and searches at the offices of various organizations in Georgia were, quote, more prevention than repression. Azerbaijan's Foreign Minister Ceyhun Bayramov addresses the 31st OSCE Ministerial Council in Malta, highlighting progress with Armenia-Azerbaijan relations. The minister points to the restoration of Azerbaijan's sovereignty and territorial integrity and how it has created new opportunities for interstate normalization. Bayramov says portions of the border have been delimited through direct talks, with regulations now in place to guide further efforts. He also sees significant progress on a draft bilateral agreement between the two nations. South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol replaces his defense minister as opposition parties in the parliament move to impeach both men over the very short-lived imposition of martial law in that country.
South Korea's president has accepted the resignation of his defense minister, Kim Yong-kyun. It's after Yong-kyun was blamed for advising Yoon Suk-yeol to declare martial law, ordering troops to parliament on Tuesday. This move triggered protests immediately, and Yoon reversed the decision a few hours later. The president has now appointed a new defense minister, Choi Byung-hyuk, the country's ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Whilst being questioned at the National Assembly in Seoul about the events at night, the commander of the troops, Park Eun-soo, said there was no intention to use firearms against the public. Additionally, Vice Defense Minister Kim Sun-ho confirmed that no live ammunition was provided to the troops deployed to the parliament. Demonstrators continue to call for President Yoon's resignation.
After the declaration of martial law, the citizens' sit-in protest began, and I'm here today as one of the citizens to participate. The bill to impeach President Yoon Suk-yeol has been submitted and is expected to pass soon. Until it passed, and until the people of South Korea can live calmly and safely, I'm standing here together as one of its citizens.
As soon as I heard the noise, I rushed to the National Assembly. I have children, but I left them with my in-laws because I felt I needed to act. For the sake of my children, this must be stopped, no matter what. We cannot go back to the 1970s.
The opposition lawmakers are pushing for a vote on impeachment to be set on Saturday. However, the ruling party remains opposed, making it unclear whether the motion will pass.
local media, a Pakistani court issued an arrest warrant for former Prime Minister Imran Khan's wife, Bushra Bibi, in a graft case. That could lead to Bibi's rearrest 2 months after she was freed from jail on bail. Bibi was detained for 9 months over an ongoing case involving the illegal sale of state gifts during her husband's tenure in office. Both she and Khan, who is currently jailed pending other trials, deny the charges. Bibi mobilized thousands of supporters from Khan's party to demand his release during massive protests last month. She was forced to escape to the northwest part of the country after security forces broke up the rally in Islamabad. To the U.S. now, where reports indicate authorities executed a warrant for a New York City location. This after the New York City Police Department released photos of the suspect in that fatal shooting of UnitedHealth CEO. Brian Thompson was gunned down Wednesday morning outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel. Police call it a, quote, brazen and targeted attack.
The attack happened on a Manhattan sidewalk in New York. Brian Thompson was gunned down outside the Hilton Hotel on 6th Avenue. This occurred just as the UnitedHealth's annual investor conference was set to begin.
I hear the 3 shots. I was parking down there in the car. I hear 3 shots. Yeah, and then when I looked, there's a man down. Yeah. And then the guy crossed and then he ran. He's a white male, all in black, with a backpack. He crossed this way. That AnewZ.
We were over here working in the University Club Hotel, and then we were outside, and we heard some shots rang off, and then we ran over here, and police were here in seconds.
Despite being rushed to a nearby hospital, a 50-year-old executive succumbed to his injuries. The incident, along with the suspect's movements before and after the shooting, were captured on multiple security cameras in the area. Police released surveillance images of the suspect, who wore a hooded jacket and mask that blended in on a cold winter's day. Some photos show him at a Starbucks shortly before the shooting. Authorities described the attack as a premeditated, pre-planned, targeted assault.
This does not appear to be a random act of violence. The victim was in New York City to speak at an investor conference. It appears the suspect was lying in wait for several minutes. And as the victim was walking to the conference hotel, the suspect approached from behind and fired several rounds, striking the victim at least once in the back and at least once in the right calf.
Investigators are trying to identify the masked gunman who killed the executive of one of the largest U.S. health insurance companies. The NYPD continues to search for the suspect, offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to an arrest. UnitedHealth serves millions of Americans. The company has also been grappling with a significant data breach in its Change Healthcare division. This has disrupted patient services and delayed payments to providers. The incident happened just hours before the city's iconic Christmas tree lighting ceremony at the Rockefeller Center, which proceeded as planned under heavy security.
Bitcoin could very well be the most successful investment product of the last 20 years. The price of a single unit of the cryptocurrency hit 6 figures in dollars for the very first time.
Bitcoin has more than doubled in value this year, with a 45% increase in the 4 weeks since Donald Trump's election victory.
On the Bitcoin protocol. History. You know what that means?
This surge pushed Bitcoin above $100,000 for the first time, amid expectations that Trump's administration will foster a pro-crypto environment. The sharp rise in Bitcoin's value signals growing mainstream acceptance. Trump's support for the cryptocurrency stands during his campaign, including his pledge to make the United States the crypto capital of the planet, has fueled optimism in the market.
If crypto is going to define the future, I want to be mined, minted, and made in the USA. It's going to be. It's not going to be made anywhere else. And if Bitcoin is going to the moon, as we say, it's going to the moon, I want America to be the nation that leads the way, and that's what's going to happen.
Despite the surge, crypto experts caution that Bitcoin's future behavior is uncertain due to its limited historical data.
You could expect Bitcoin to go all the way to 180K and with some more extreme model, all the way to 240K. Now, whether that will happen, nobody knows. Will it be sustainable? Will it stay there, or will it pull back in a violent fashion afterwards? Nobody knows either. But it's really about your risk appetite and your willingness to hold during downturns that should dictate whether you're willing to hold for a higher level.
This growth signals Bitcoin's increasing legitimacy in the global financial landscape.
Thousands gather in Lyon ahead of the 25th annual Fête des Lumières, a festival around the French city displaying light shows on iconic buildings and through artwork against a backdrop of music.
Children and adults alike will be transported into a world of magic in Lyon. The French city will heave with thousands of people this weekend for the famous Fête des Lumières Light Festival, which begins Thursday night. This year marks a special occasion as it celebrates its 25th anniversary. Visitors will see the return of the most iconic artworks from the past 25 years.
We are flattered and very happy to come back in Lyon because it's the Mecca of light. And all the people in the team are very motivated because we remember a magical moment in 2008. I wouldn't say we are starting, but we are begging to tell stories to a large number of people. And it was a great moment. We have a great story with Lyon.
Despite the crowds and road closures, the annual event is a hit with residents who love it.
We need this. We really need this. It's important. It's those small events that allow us to let it go a little bit, to escape from everyday life, from whatever social difficulties people may have, and from old anxiety. So yes, it feels good to attend this kind of event and to put aside our difficulties, at least for one evening.
It brings people together. People are outside. There is also this warm side of the Christmas spirit. It puts us in the mood. I love this kind of pre-end-of-the-year celebrations.
As well as the 32 installations around the city, visitors will see the Louis XIV statue in the middle of Place de Bellecour turned into a Christmas snow globe. The enchanting event takes place at night until the 18th of December.
A 161.5 square meter Hedeke carpet gifted to the Peace Palace in The Hague during the Ottoman era has been restored in Axere and is now back in the Netherlands. The restoration was carried out as part of a protocol between the Carnegie Foundation, which manages the Peace Palace, and Turkey's Ministry of Culture and Tourism.
The carpet, weighing 700 kilograms, was delivered to Aksaray Museum in May last year and later taken to Sultanahmet district, known for its expertise in carpet restoration. The work was completed by an 8-person team over the course of 1 year. The restoration process involved 8 stages, including archival research, damage assessment, and traditional dye-in techniques. Experts divided the carpet into 280 sections to identify 15 damaged areas which were repaired using thread dye to match the original colors. After the restoration, the carpet was carefully packed in a wooden frame and loaded onto a truck, which was ceremonially sent to the Netherlands from Sultanahmet.
As the holiday season approaches, thousands flock to the Rockefeller Center in New York City for the annual lighting of the Christmas tree. The almost 23-meter Norway spruce is part of an iconic tradition that marks the official start to festivities in the city.
The 23-meter-high Norway spruce, adorned with 50,000 multicoloured lights and topped with a Swarovski star featuring 3 million crystals, was the highlight of the evening. The spectacular display drew enthusiastic cheers from the large crowd gathered at Rockefeller Plaza. This year's tree, weighing around 11 tons, comes from West Stockbridge in Massachusetts. Its journey to New York began in 2020, when the head gardener at Rockefeller Center spotted it and contacted the owners about donating it for the holiday display. After being cut down last month, the tree was carefully transported to the plaza for the grand lighting ceremony. The Rockefeller Center Christmas tree, positioned above the famous ice skating rink, will remain on display through mid-January, with a special 24-hour lighting on Christmas Day. After the holiday season, the tree will be repurposed as lumber for Habitat for Humanity, a non-profit organisation helping to provide housing for those who need it most.
That's all from our team. Thank you so much for watching AnewZ. Please stay up to date by visiting our website, AnewZ.tv. Bye for now.